We also have Jeff Berding, the general manager and president, available as
well. For certainly a first day experience of FC Cincinnati, we're extremely excited, very happy about the overwhelming turnout and interest in terms of being part of this. From a technical staff, we were very happy with the level of play today as well. I thought from the competition side of things, from the morning all the way through the afternoon, it's been nothing but positive responses from a lot of the players. The way that their inclusion was, some guys have traveled from great distances to be here, and it's been really good feedback throughout the day. So overall, we're pretty happy about not just the mass numbers of the turnout, but some of the level of players that came out here. There's a lot of quality, and so it makes our decisions tougher. But at the same time, I think that's some of those kind of headaches that you want to have, as a coach. So from our perspective, we were pretty happy with everything. Jeff, I don't know, from the standpoint as a club, share your thoughts on the first day, please, if you
can. We've been building the franchise for almost 2 years now, and today was the first day we had players wearing our crest playing soccer. And so it was a historic day for the franchise, and I agree with Coach Harkes. The quality of the players was outstanding for the first tryouts. We have Greater Cincinnati players who grew up here. Some played collegiately here. Some people traveled from all over the United States, and we had many players here who traveled from abroad to come try out. And so the tryout quality was excellent. And I think from our standpoint, this is a lot of young guys here who are looking to live their dream of playing professional soccer. And so it was great to see guys pursuing that passion of being a professional soccer player. Whether or not that's going to fit with FC Cincinnati or not, time will tell. But it was admirable to see the guys give it their best, and we're thrilled to have this first concrete step in building our roster.
One of the things I just addressed the group there, and each of the sessions that we put on today, it's easy for coaching staffs of all different sports to kind of look at ability alone, but we don't do that. We look at ability and the character of the players that are coming to be part of FC Cincinnati. And wearing that crest is something that we really, really value. It's huge. And so to make sure that they understand what that level of commitment is, and there was raising some eyebrows today from us, which was good, and taking notice on some of those players, what we saw. It was quite good.
Is there a numbers goal in mind to get from these tryouts as far as a certain number of players go that you guys had in mind going into this?
I don't know if you categorize it or if you actually limit it to a numbers specifically. What we're hoping to be is surprised, and I think we were by a few today. When we looked at the numbers initially and we anticipated, Jeff and I talked about it, Ryan Martin, my assistant coach, and we just looked at, initially, what normally do you look at this and say, if there's 50 kids that are coming out, if there's 40 players, if there's 60 players, we got 118, maybe 120, a couple of late additions and everything else. If you can realistically, at our level of play, if you realistically get 3-4 players out of that, that's pretty good. I mean, it's because you're going to get such a wide, you're casting a net, right? And you're looking at the levels of ability, level of commitment, the mentality that comes from players. And so, you look at everything, what it takes, characteristic traits to be a professional player and come out of the gate for FC Cincinnati in March. And it's a challenge for some of them, and I think it's also a wake-up call for them. But to be honest with you, it was such a pleasant experience because I had so many players come up and just say thank you so much for the experience and being here and being involved with FC Cincinnati, and that's what we're trying to be, is inclusive for everybody, give everybody opportunities.
So you're saying if you get 3 or 4 out of the day, that's going to be good?
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to put a number on anything, really. I mean, we're going to have discussions. We'll look at the depth of what we have currently, where we're going. I mean, a vision and a plan of a players group. I told them, look, you're fighting for 24 spots, that's what we're looking to carry this year. And when you're talking about 120 players here, plus the scouting that we've done already, which is very thorough, the international as well as domestic, that makes it very hard. There's not a lot of opportunities out there. So realistically, yeah, I mean, depending on where these guys are coming from, what their skill sets that they have, being a pro is just not a flash in the pan thing. It's a very important process, and longevity is important. So you're looking at that player, how can they help you not just now, but during the middle of the season, at the end of the season, where do they grow with the club 2-3 years from now? I mean, there's a lot to think about and consider.
When are you going to do this again?
We'll have those discussions and talk about it.
So you haven't announced another date yet?
We have not.
Within a month, a week?
We just haven't. We haven't made any discussions.
No,
I mean, initially there was talks of can we do something in January? Maybe
possibly
in the new year.
So a couple months. Within a couple of months.
I would say the earliest we would do another one is January. We'll get through the holidays.
Did you see some Latino players in the tryout?
Yeah. I saw some, yeah.
Good.
There's a couple of players here from Honduras, from Mexico, El Salvador. We have a couple other players that we're looking at as well that may be coming in from Panama, different areas. So
anybody other than Xavier represented here today from local colleges?
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. Ohio Wesleyan was here. Ohio State couldn't have some of the players
what about
here.
Cincinnati?
Well, John Magna was here, but he's coming back from an injury, so he's not fully healthy yet. So if he'd be a guy that in January we'd probably see if he's healthy. He battled a hamstring all year.
Gotcha.
He was a preseason All-American coming into his senior year and had a bad hamstring all year. He was here. We talked to him. He's just not fully healthy yet.
I saw both Walker brothers here.
Yes.
Are you allowed to talk about guys that don't make the team yet? They haven't made the team. Can you talk about, just give me a quote about the Walker brothers at all? I'm with the Inquirer. I'm looking for a local angle, but I know that you want to kind of keep the list, the tryout list.
I could say in general. I just say generally speaking, the quality of soccer here in Greater Cincinnati's been outstanding for a very long time, and they certainly represent that. And there's a lot of other outstanding players in Greater Cincinnati, and just depends on where guys are in their career. Some of them are pros now, and maybe down the road, since FC Cincinnati is a fit. It depends on where guys are, but we certainly want to be the hometown team of all those players that grow up in all of our clubs, and some of them go away to college and have an opportunity to come back and play for their hometown team. Other guys, come from different parts of the United States or around the world and play at our local colleges and universities, and maybe there'll be an opportunity. So, that's certainly a part of it. FC Cincinnati is the hometown team. You don't have to root for a professional team up the road or overseas. People have a hometown team right here now.
When you're evaluating the players, are you looking for players that fit your specific system? Are you looking for players that fit an overall, just the most talented players, and then you'll get them to fit into the system?
Combination of both. Combination of both.
So I know you guys had mentioned a couple times that international players were present today. John, I know you just spent some time overseas looking at some players, evaluating. Were any of those players here today, or were you guys looking for more invitational type stuff down the road?
They were not here today.
Okay.
But there's a couple of guys that we've already connected with, from our trips overseas. It's, again, this is part of the process, building the relationships and seeing what makes fit here. What you don't want to do is, we don't want to be in a position where you commit early, nor do you, leave things to drag on either. So there's that balance that we're looking for. And from this part of the equation, it was important for us to come here and not just from a club and getting exposed here in terms of what Cincinnati can do, but like Jeff said, we know there's a lot of local talent, and it's very important to make sure that we get those guys an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to stay a little bit with the international angle a bit, you guys had said in the past you'd most likely look to fill the maximum allotment the USL allows. Is that still a part of the plan?
Yeah, if it makes sense. If these players are good enough, and can they play at our level? I think there's still, when you look at the players, just because they're international doesn't mean that they can compete, what we're trying to do. So whether or not they embrace what we're doing, and travel, and can they live here, and all that plays into it. So yeah, if it works, yeah, we would do that.
Just curiosity, how is your Spanish?
¿En español?
From what to
Estudio,
time?
estudio español para 2 años en la escuela, sí, y ahora necesito más práctica para cada día con mi familia, mi hija. Sí. Necesito más, un poquito más.
Congratulations.
Sí.
So could you speak in Spanish with a Latino
Yeah,
player?
I think what's important is that I can communicate with them, even though there's certain things that we still understand that my Spanish isn't the best, but it will be.
That's
This
good.
year will be even more.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
What do you expect your style of play to be? Your coaching
Entertaining,
style?
good possession. Guys that can play under pressure, building out of the back. Certainly, dictating the play. I mean, we would love to do that. Guys that have soccer intelligence and IQ on the ball. Guys move and interpret spaces off the ball.
Where are you from,
It's
John?
going to be aesthetically pleasing to see.
Thank you.
And competitive.
Are you from Cincinnati?
No. Originally,
from? Yeah.
New Jersey.
Oh, no, yes.
New Jersey, yeah.
You can still hear a little bit of that too.
What's that?
The New Jersey.
You talking to me?
Take a couple steps back.
John, what I've noticed a lot of times, guys who come out to these open tryouts, this team or other professional clubs at USL, they've all got good skill, but the big thing is adjusting to the speed of the game. How did you feel these guys handled that today?
Actually, pretty good. Some of them, you could see some of the groups are stronger than the others. At some point, as the physicality went on, there was a bit of a drop off, in terms of the fitness. So that speed of the game is going to drop a little bit as well, which is normal. But I think for some of the guys that we're looking at, it was pretty good. Pretty good speed of game, speed of thought, which is very important. It was okay.
So after this, what's the evaluation process from this tryout like? Do you guys sit down and go over it together? Kind of
absolutely.
thing?
Yeah, I mean, you discuss these things. You look at the sheets. You look at we've got videotape of this game like here. The last session here, we looked at the guys in the morning. Thorough discussions. Each session that we put on, there's conversations going on in between. Throughout the training sessions, and now now it's a time for the coaching staff and Jeff to sit down and we go through what we saw. What makes sense, where we are, what our needs are, what's our depth in our club, how are we looking from a midfielder standpoint, fullbacks, to the center backs, where's our leaders, so all of that comes into play.
Jeff, are you planning to broadcast the games, radio and TV?
We are. We're working right now with we put out an RFP for all the TV stations to broadcast the game. We're also talking with Fox Sports Ohio and Time Warner Cable. We're talking to a couple different radio stations to have the game broadcast in both English and Spanish.
That's good.
What will be the first month in the year that you'll play your first game?
March
of 16, right?
Yes, correct.
The league schedule looks like coming out in January, Jeff?
Yes.
Schedule comes out in January?
Yes.
And then we're anticipating the third week of March as the opener. Anticipating that.
Yes. And
But
then
nothing's set, right?
the first home game likely in early April.
What is the rules in the tournament? Every team is playing against all the teams in both leagues?
There's 29 teams, 15 in the West, 14 in the East. And we're in the Eastern Conference. We'll play every team in the Eastern Conference 2 times. And then we'll play a couple games home and away with the West. And then 2 wild card games, in effect, for 30 regular season matches, 15 home, 15 away. All games, 27 of the 30 games should be on weekends, and maybe 3 games on Wednesdays.
So
obviously, some of those home, some of those away.
So the derby is against Louisville. Is the nearest town? It's the nearest.
The nearest team
Yeah.
would be Louisville City. Yeah. Yes.
So that is going to be the classic.
It'll be a good rivalry.
Yeah, the rivalry. Yeah.
I-71 Classical.
No other teams in Ohio, right?
No.
And also, to answer your question about competition too, we are competing in the Open Cup, as every team does in this country. So, we'll be able to challenge ourselves in the Open Cup tournament as well. That runs currently with the season.
So NASL, MLS, USL, all competing for U.S. Open Cup champion. This year was Sporting Kansas City, and next year we look forward to competing.
think I heard you say a couple seconds ago, there'd be 29 teams, 15 in the West and 14 in the East. That's for 2016?
That's my understanding, unless there's been some changes.
So is there a confirmation on San Antonio then?
No.
Okay.
14 in the East, and how many in the West, guys?
15.
15 and 14 right now?
Let me say, that was the number as of July.
Gotcha.
Okay. As far as USL, has there been any more progress on potential affiliations with any MLS clubs at this point?
From us?
Yes.
Oh, we've had some discussions. Oh, I think that's something that over the period of the next 4 to 6 weeks that we'll probably figure out. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, to have an affiliation and to be a standalone club. So, that's a process that we have to really discuss thoroughly and make sure what's right for us.
Sure. Probably not going to give me an answer on this, but I'll ask anyway. Crew are currently having a vacant spot in their USL affiliation. Any chance that might be one of the teams you're talking with?
Next. What were we saying? Who day? Who day? Who day?
Can answer that question.
Hey, I'll go back to the point that you just raised. In July, it was anticipated that there would be 29.
Correct.
So, look, we're focused on what's going on here in Cincinnati. So whether or not what the league anticipated came to bear or not, I don't know until the schedule comes out. Honestly, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on in other franchises. But at that time, the sense was that there'd be 14 in the East. I can at least speak to that. The West is of less import to us because all of our games, save maybe 2, would be against teams in the Eastern Conference.
Regarding affiliation, I mean, there's conversations I've had with a number of clubs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So that's constantly ongoing. Good dialogues, keep them alive, and see what makes sense.
Okay, we do one more question.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Good.
Thank you for being out here today.
By the way, thank you very much.